So, I didn't originally start dating, really, until my cat jumped in my face. He likes to do that. He might do it again. Yep, he's gonna, cuddle with my face while I talk. That's cool. So, I didn't really start dating until I came to Maryland. I'm originally from Michigan, and I moved here a couple years ago, and I kind of got into a routine and decided that it was time to start checking out the dating scene. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and I'm going to start with the story of the Cheesecake Guy. So I met the Cheesecake Guy at a meetup, and I believe it was held at Dave & Buster's. I went there with a friend, and I was trying desperately to get the attention of the creator of the meetup group that it was part of, because he was quite attractive and was telling funny stories, but he was sitting pretty far away from me at the table, and I'm not very loud, so I tried really hard to do the whole leaning into his conversation so he might notice me, but when that wasn't working out, I finally just settled for talking to my friend and the other people at my end of the table. So I got to talk to some lady who was a teacher. I got to talk to some guy who might have been slightly special. He was definitely socially awkward, to say the least. And a guy who later became known as Cheesecake Guy. So this guy is really tall, bald, because he doesn't like his receding hairline, so he shaved all the rest of it off, and quite the gentleman. He seemed witty, whatever. So my friend and I, we went to play in the arcade with him, and he wanted to be a gentleman and pay for all of our games, but we both thought that was kind of awkward, so we only took him up on a few games. And then he asked if we wanted to eat because he was hungry and hadn't had dinner yet, and I stupidly answered before my friend had a chance to say that she needed to leave, so I ended up going to the Cheesecake Factory alone with this guy, and he bought me cheesecake, because apparently that's what you do with the Cheesecake Factory, is eat cheesecake. I've only been there that one time, so I don't really know what else they have. And I don't know, we chatted, he was nice, we kind of became friends, emailed back and forth, we were really witty conversations going on, and we decided to hang out and played a bunch of board games. We did a few other things, we went on a hayride, we went to Renaissance Festival, just kind of hung out a lot. And during that time he told me that he had been married before but got divorced, and he didn't want to tell me the story yet out of respect for his ex-wife, which I thought was kind of sketchy, but I just let that slide. So after we hung out for a while, he asked me to go on a date, and I wasn't super attracted to him, but at the time I was a little too naive to notice that that's important, to be attracted to the person. I thought they could kind of grow on you, which maybe they can. I haven't experienced that yet, but in this case that did not happen. Sorry for the spoiler. But he and I went on a date because, I said yes because I didn't realize that was a bad idea, and he took me to some Irish restaurant and a dueling piano bar because I said I really wanted to go to Ireland and that I really liked Howl at the Moon in Baltimore. And this dueling piano bar was nowhere near as fun as Howl at the Moon. He paid $25 to get them to play Your Song by Elton John, and they never played the song. So that was a good waste of money that he made. And I don't know, it was fine, but I really didn't want to go out with him again, so I told him when he got me back to my house that, I wasn't interested in him in that way, but he came inside anyway because we've been friends, so I was comfortable having him come in and hang out for a while. And while we were watching Firefly, our hands were, sitting next to us on the couch, and well, something very awkward started to happen. He started caressing my pinky with his pinky, and I didn't really know what to do because I had no idea what he was attempting. It's awkward enough to just touch somebody's pinky when they just said that they're not interested in dating you. Like, this would have been weird, trying to do the, like, sly touching. But he took that up, like, 20 levels of intensity by caressing my pinky with his pinky. Wasn't really sure if he was, like, trying to make baby pinkies or if he was just having some sort of a spasm. And my cat really doesn't care anymore. That's McGuire, by the way. He's kind of an asshole, but I like him. And so he's caressing my pinky, and I just got so weirded out that I finally just said, "Is this what you're going for?" and grabbed his hand because I didn't know what else to do. And that was a horrible idea because he was trying to hold my hand, and for as many minutes as it took for me to figure out that a good exit strategy would be to go to the bathroom, he held my hand very tightly and very sweatily. So after millions of years, when I figured out that I could get out of holding his hand by going to the bathroom, I finally let go and went to the bathroom. So that was fun, and I just like stuck my hands down in my lap so that he couldn't, touch them again once I got back. And after we got done watching TV and he was going to leave because I said I was tired, he thanked me for the honor and privilege of me letting him be the first guy to ever hold my hand. So that was special. Very cute. And we continued like talking and everything, and he seemed okay with the whole just being friends thing, but he was like slightly awkward a couple times, nothing major. So I thought everything would be fine with time, and then he asked me to go to Niagara Falls with him. And I said, that's kind of a romantic destination to go when we're not romantically involved. And he was just like, no, it's fine. We both just need travel buddies, and we can travel together. And I started to agree, and then he wanted to pay for the whole thing. And I was like, no. You're not my sugar daddy. That's not okay. I'm not going to be bought. And I made him at least let me pay for gas, which it was a really long drive, so gas was a substantial amount of money. And we went to Niagara Falls, and it was like kind of okay, not the best trip in my life because there were some kind of awkward romantic things happening. Like, he wanted to go to the super expensive restaurant where we had to dress up, and he got the adjoining rooms that have like a bathroom that has one of those romantic little jacuzzi tubs, which that's the only hotel room I've ever been in with one of those before, and I didn't feel comfortable using it because I thought it was creepy that he was there. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, we were there, and one night, the first night, we were watching the football game in my room, and he started, after the game was over, started to tell me the story of his ex-wife and the lady that he dated after her, and he is the worst storyteller in the history of the world. He tried to explain to me how he was thinking of telling me things because he needed to say it the right way, and he kept making prologues to prologues to prologues, and he just never really would get to the story. So it took about an hour for him to even get started with the story, but by that time I fell asleep because it was boring as all hell. And then he left the room, but I woke up in the middle of the night and the door was still open. So he just decided to leave and leave the door open, and I kind of felt like someone was watching me, but I just thought I was probably being paranoid and didn't really think that much of it. So the next night, he also was watching TV with me in my room, and when I started to get tired, I said, I'm about ready to go to sleep, why don't you go ahead and go back to your room, and then we, can do more stuff in the morning. And I asked him to close the door as he was leaving so that I would be able to hear it if it opened in the middle of the night, and I would know that he was being creepy. So I didn't hear the door open in the middle of the night, which is good, and then we went and did a few more things in the morning, and then we drove home. And during the drive, 3 or more hours were comprised of him continuing to tell me this horrible story about his ex-wife and the woman that he dated after her, in that same horribly boring fashion. And then while we were stopped somewhere, I asked him if I could see his camera so that I could see the pictures that he had taken on the trip, which is, pretty normal, right? I want to see the pictures. And he got, really weird about it. He didn't want me to have his camera until he saw it first. And I kind of, made a joke out of it because I thought it was odd. I just said, you have something naughty on there? Like, are you taking risque photos? And he was just like, well, no, they're not naughty or dirty or anything. I then continued trying to, lighten the mood because it had become so awkward. And I said, did you take pictures of me while I was sleeping or something? And then the way that he responded, it became clear that yes, in fact, he had taken pictures of me while I was sleeping, which is really weird and creepy. And the rest of that car ride, which was probably another 3 hours, was not super fun, especially since he still hadn't finished that story yet, so I had to listen to the rest of it. It was bad. And we got home, and then I told him that I was really uncomfortable with the things that had happened, like the whole, photographing me while I was sleeping and unaware when we're not dating, and that's just creepy. And I told him I didn't really feel comfortable being as close of friends as we had been, so we really only exchanged a few more emails and some happy birthday messages, that kind of thing. But a few months later, he contacted me and said that he had a girlfriend and she was uncomfortable with the fact that this other woman had his Wii, because when he had gone out of town, he loaned me his Wii so that I could protect it so it wouldn't be in his house alone, which that's also quite weird, but I did it anyway because I got to play with his Wii for a few months. And when he hadn't spoken to me in 4 months, I went out and bought a Wii Fit platform for it because I was like, I guess, I've got a Wii now. I'm not gonna scoff at free Wii. But anyway, then a month after I went and bought the thing, he, of course, contacted me and said that he needed it back. So I decided to be equally as sketchy as he had been to me and shove it in an Amazon box so that it looked like it had been a delivery, and then I dropped it off on his porch when he knew that I wasn't at work, and just sent him a text that said, "Sorry, I missed you. Catch up soon," or something like that, so that I never had to see him again. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of Cheesecake Guy. The only other tidbit I have about him is that because of the bald head and very large forehead, some of my coworkers started referring to him as Megamind, because there's a cartoon with a blue character that has a large, bulbous, bald head that is slightly reminiscent of this man, other than the fact that he's blue. I've not yet dated a blue man. Hopefully someday I can date someone from the Blue Man group. That'd be kind of awesome. They're pretty amusing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening, and I will talk to you soon.